I'll beat
You can
that
edit
out.
that out. Yeah,
Yeah.
just edit that out.
Put a tornado
So
siren right
when
there.
so when we both were watching it, there's a part where, he finally meets her, and you can sense like a you just get the sense of like, oh, there's something between them. There's something happening.
Yeah.
You
Energy.
get like a feeling, yeah. And it wasn't like really said or hinted at what was happening between them, but you kind of felt it. You knew. And then once at the end of the episode, you're like, oh shit, like that's it.
I
That's the reason why they hit it off in that other place is because they are already like kind of bonded in real life to one another.
yeah.
So it's like maybe I think partly they were like trying to like test them to see like how far they can split off from like separation. Like, would this person
Mhm.
really even know, like, would they, if they were to see this person in this other world, would it matter? Because, like, they're supposed to be different individuals and not have, like, correlations to one another of the outside world. But obviously it didn't work because they still felt something in that other
No,
world of, I guess, severance.
I watched a one of the breakdowns I watched was by this YouTuber named Amanda the Jedi. And she had talked about how like the main manager chick, like the short lady who
Yeah.
yeah, who's running the office essentially, how she had in ways strategically put those two in that little therapy room and had that
hmm
camera on him to see if he would like be able to recognize like or feel
Yeah.
anything for the woman that he thought like that's his wife essentially, but they don't know each other.
Yeah.
And she also said that it could be because like you see that that lady has like a shrine and everything up for that man, like for the guy who created it and everything. But her
hmm
actions and everything are kind of maybe there's a theory that she lost somebody to this company, and so she's within them trying to like break them down from the inside, which is kind of why she's wanting to find
Oh.
a hole in their thing by like having those two meet each other and then somehow recognize each other, even though they're both so supposed to have never met each other. And
Yeah.
how whenever they found out that you could undo the process, which is what the dude's friend is trying to get him through the whole movie, when she finds out that it
hmm
works, she's just kind of like, I know how to do this kind of thing, or like we know how to do this now. And she's not really eager
Yeah.
to really help them so much as she's like, just don't tell them yet. Let me like tell them, and she's kind of holding that information. So I think the second season
Yeah,
will
I didn't
be.
see it that way.
I think the second season will be a bit more of like them now trying to go against the organization, especially because his sister like met him, the inside version of him, and then
hmm
before he was able to like, I guess, you know, what's it called, get sent back, he told her that he's alive, like or she's alive.
Yeah.
Whenever he saw the
That she was
picture of
alive.
her,
Yeah. Yeah. That
so it's
was crazy.
interesting.
That was just chilling. I was like, oh my
It
God,
was
it's
yeah.
her.
But one thing that I questioned, I was just like, okay, they said she was dead, like dead. And
Mhm.
so I know that they're saying like the guy, his best friend who was like exposing everything, who reversed the process, was saying that there's some people who are existing in like a place in that facility where they never leave. Which I'm like,
Mm.
okay, obviously we're gonna find out that they've been kidnapping people, but it's like, how do they get away with like essentially killing somebody for this?
Yeah.
Because they said she's dead, and everyone thinks she's dead.
Well, I mean, the government can do a lot of things like that.
And I
They
guess
can, yeah. But yeah, I do think that's pretty interesting. I didn't think about. So yeah, that lady, I forgot her name, but yeah, the older lady who is kind of running everything. She came off as like a bad person, but she also came off as like, like she's like Snape from Harry Potter, where there's you see them as like a bad person, but really the whole time they're like the real one. They were like fucking doing
it's
shit behind the
Harmony
scenes. hmm
in the in the show. Her name's
so,
Harmony.
oh, Harmony, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So like she seems like she's like a bad character, but
it's like the
I
red
think,
herring.
yeah, I think there's more. I think there's more to her.
Yeah, like they definitely made it up for her to seem like the bad person, but then as it goes on, you're like, you're not the best person, but
Yeah.
I think you're trying to do something that can work with all that can benefit all of us, but you're not the best person. Like, you definitely done some shady shit. Like I think, she like made it look like she kidnapped the baby when she ran away because he just put the baby in
Yeah.
like this random room and dipped. Everyone was freaking out.
Trying to
But
buy herself some time.
another theory was that the people that the guy, if you notice the dinner scene, and then like whenever they do find the baby, how that dude, the black guy, like he finds the baby and he's just like, I found her, I did this.
Huh.
even though the main character was named Mark, even though he walks into the room and sees it and like yells and he's just with them. I guess the theory is that that company has been doing other kind of tests on people, and you can kind of see like it's kind of makes they emphasize that scene, but it didn't really make sense because it's like if you found it, why were you so hell bent on emphasizing that you found it? Like he was like, I
Mm,
found the baby, I found your baby, and it's like they're
mhm,
saying it's like this kind of like regression to this wanting to please mentality and always want to be looked favored upon kind of thing.
hmm.
It's just like, you never know who might have been tested on or who might be a part of this because, you go in the office at different
Yeah.
times, they stagger you out. So you don't know who works there and who doesn't.
Mhm,
But you live in this complex that they built and they stagger your times and everything. Like all your neighbors might essentially work there. So you don't know how much control they have over, people around you and stuff. So that was pretty
yeah.
interesting.
That
But
is
I
interesting.
really can't
I
wait for
didn't pick
season
up
two.
on that. Oh yeah, season 2 is gonna be great, and then we're gonna see how wrong everybody was on their,
Definitely. There's
analysis.
everything I just said is gonna be like,
Just
yeah,
wrong.
it was
'Cause
just LSD the whole time.
'Cause, I mean, that's what happened. I remember watching a bunch of shit on Stranger Things, like, before, like, the latest season came out.
Mm.
Everyone's like, "Alright, here's what I knew from, like, the trailer," and they just, like, go deep diving into, like, what they're, like, trying to predict is gonna happen, and it
Mm.
turns out to be none of that. It's just like, "Man, you were real certain about that, but
I'm glad you don't
hmm."
gamble.
But yeah, I mean, that show was awesome. I think it was really good. When it comes to the goat stuff, in my mind, because I didn't look up any like
Videos,
analysis,
theories.
yeah, analysis theory stuff. But when I saw the goat thing, I just assumed for some reason I thought they were sheeps. But
Mm,
I mean, regardless, I think it's like this idea of like herding. You're like
mhm. Like being a
you
shepherd
know,
kinda
what
thing?
is it like?
Like
Yeah.
mm,
And
that does
that's
make
what I
sense.
like kinda because like I mean, and then was there any I can't remember. I think I remember telling someone that there was like some religious aspects to it, but I don't remember why I said religious aspects.
Well, I think one
It's been
of the older members of the family, I think their whole thing has kind of been, like, being the leader of a new world in a way. So, that would make sense with,
mhm.
like, the herding aspect and all that kinda stuff, and mind you, one of the videos I saw that just did, like, a lot of Easter egg stuff, they were pointing out that the people in that family all had major products within the city that people use. So like one of the guys essentially
Oh.
founded the restaurant that he got a coupon to when he got injured at work. So you know how they were like, you suffered an injury, here is a $15 or $50 coupon to whatever that steakhouse was or
Oh,
restaurant you went
yeah,
to.
mhm.
They created that restaurant. Like someone in that family created that
Oh,
restaurant. So they have different products all
interesting.
around that people use and that they make people use that kind of like work
Oh,
for
so
them and
then
get ingrained in that system.
yes, what if like those people in those other like working places also have people like doing severance? Like say like the restaurant. What if someone works at that restaurant and then they go do some shit to like they just on autopilot while they're
Yeah.
like working at the restaurant?
And I think that's the political aspect that they were trying to do is that severance is like good for people. Like the scene where Mark's sister is at that one retreat and then she meets the woman that night in her house and then she's talking to her having tea and all that stuff. And the next day she meets her and it's like a different person entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because she had the thing done to her. And I think someone had made a point about it, whether it be in the show or just in another video or something. But the point was that why not, if you could turn off your mind during pregnancy for like
Hmm.
those 9 months of pregnancy, why would you not do it kind of thing? And so I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, but can you imagine like you turn your mind off for 9 months and then you turn it back on and suddenly you have like a baby that's here, or I guess
Yeah.
like every day you turn it off and then let someone else take care of the baby, then you wake up and it's like, okay, here's this thing that you haven't even thought of recently or like even remotely.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of crazy direction they can go with it. But I am excited for when they continue, and since the writer's strike is done now, hopefully they pick it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, but
Right.
we'll see. Hopefully, they didn't use like AI to write some like cheap ass shit.
I hope not. Jesus. AI is
Don't
not.
do it.
AI is. the future, but they're not using it in that way. I feel like just using AI to like write a script is so lazy. It's like really of all the things you could use this for is just I'm gonna write a movie script, and then like the script always comes
Yeah.
out bad. Like it always is like obviously no human being wrote this. This is you know pretty garbage. But
Mhm.
I digress.
Yeah, that
Severance
show's
was
pretty
dope.
good. I can't wait. Yeah. I
Um,
really can't. I don't know what they're gonna do. And like the ending was just. I mean, everybody was also just really likable. Like everyone's like,
yeah,
you
I
know,
fuck with
their
Dylan.
problem.
I feel so bad for Dylan, man. Like he didn't even know he had a kid. He didn't know he had two kids. It's like, bro, he just like, wakes up in a closet, and then there's a
Mhm.
kid that comes in, and the guy's like, "We told you to stay outside and count to 1,000." I'm like, "Oh, bro, you're in my house, like manhandling my kids."
Mhm.
Man, I feel bad for him, but
Would the
shout out to Dylan.
question though? Would you do it? Would you?
That no, 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 no. That's too. It's so punishing because it's like you're forced to exist in only like this small space of the entire world, and you still have like it'd be different. I feel like if it was like a child mind that was like born into that and knew nothing but that, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
cruel still, but at least that way they've grown up into it. They don't really have that opportunity to question what's outside. But it's kind of like if I just one day put myself in there and I just was like, oh, okay, I'm here and I can never leave. Like even the girl who was
Mm.
like, I'm leaving, and it's like you can't leave. So it's like you know that there's the world out there. You don't know what might be going on in your own personal life, but it's like you're aware that you can't leave, you know. Yeah, and I think a lot of
Mhm.
them are aware that there's things outside of that building that exist, but it's kind of like, they have a conversation. Have you ever been outside? It's like, no, but they're just cool with it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And also, it's fucked up that they don't even know that they did it. Like, I mean, they play the video after the procedure's done that says like it shows
Mhm.
your regular version of you signing up for the program and doing it. But in a
Yeah.
way, it's kind of I don't know. It's still just too fucked up. It's like you're condemning another person that is you. You're condemning yourself to like prison essentially.
Yeah. And you know what? Now, like thinking about it now, there's for sure a reason why the chick, the main chick, is like mad about being there because I don't think she really volunteered to like want to do it. I think she had needed to do it in order to be looked down upon. Because I remember at the end, wasn't it like they were like talking about like, oh, this is like how we're going about things, and even our own like
Right.
representative is doing it, and then it shows
Like
her
even our own
like
daughter is
yeah, I'm
doing it.
filling out the yeah, she's like I'm filling out the process, I'm like taking part of this like action just to prove a point, even though she actually probably really doesn't want to do it, but just to prove a point and not be like a hypocrite. That's why like she's doing it. So it's, yeah, I mean, I feel like either like I mean, I think the guy, the reason why that other dude, the main character, is like okay with it is because he suffered like a traumatic event, and
He's grieving.
yeah, he's grieving. Like he's just like he's already like done. Like he's kind of halfway dead, so it doesn't matter if he splits himself in two.
But then like
So
at the beginning of the season, they have to start off with that because like the only reason you did this is because you thought she was dead. You know, you're
yeah,
grieving her, and now it's like not only do you find out that what's going on in that place is not like you basically they're treating you like they're treating that version of you really shittily. So now you're finding out
hmm
that it's kind of inhumane and they're like in prison essentially, but they have your wife now, you know? So,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, what do you I mean? I don't know. He did say he was thinking about quitting at the end. He thought he was thinking about quitting and just kind of being like, because he had the thought of like, what is it like to even be down there? Is it even worth it? Kind of thing. And he met people that were telling him to
mm,
like, move on. You shouldn't subject yourself to this just as like a way of grieving. Like instead of ignoring the grieving process, you should like work through it essentially.
oh yeah, for
And he
sure. I mean,
started to be like, yeah, maybe I should leave.